Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my channel, and today in this video we are going to create the form which will allow us to create a new client on our application. So far we have created the client entity, we created the client listing page, but still we are not able to create a new client from the application, and this form will allow us to do that. Now, with our TDD approach, what we will do is I'll first create a new test. Let me see over here. I have page client list. Why don't I create a new test, which is page client add. With that done, why don't we try to understand what are the different tests that we need to write for our application. So the first one is obviously that, that's the wrong one. It shows the client add form. Obviously that is the bare minimum. Now for this, what is the first thing that we would like to do? This is going to be inside my middleware with auth-web. So obviously this is something where authentication is required. So I will have a, let's just say I don't have anything for arrange, but this acting as a factory user. Oops. Okay. And then I'll need to make a get request to a route. That route name will be client create. And what we want to do is assert that we see a text called client name, maybe. So first I will do the assert OK and assert ctext like so. Now, if I run this, obviously it is going to fail because it is not able to find that text. So then, what is the situation? We do have a route, because if I do PHP, we do have a route. Let's do a PHP artisan route list. PA for me is PHP artisan route list. I can see we have client create, and the client controller create method is already handling it. So then we need to create a view for it, right? So over here, this is the method where we will have to return a view. So why don't we first do that? So I'll return a view called pages dot, inside the pages clients folder create. I don't have the view, so I'll just first do that. And honestly, if I now do this, practically I can pass the test ideally, right? So yeah, but then let me put some markup, because that's what eventually we will have to do. So here's the markup, and let's understand what is happening over here. So I have a success message being printed. Then I have my form. Route is clients.store. Method is post. CSRF field is here. I have my client name thing, and then I have my input text and error message if there are any. With this in place, let's try to run that test. And it will fail. Yes, it does, because it says that the route client.store is not defined. And why is that? Well, because my form submit is on client store. So let me go to my web.php, and in here I have my create, I have my show. Let me add store as well. Okay. So with that, now ideally this should pass, and it does. So we are fine with the first test. Let's look at the next one. What is the ideal test that we would like to write? So in here, maybe what I would do is needs all fields to create a client. Okay, why don't we start with that? So obviously We create a user and we act as that user. Now I need to make a post call to client's store because that's where the form is getting submitted. And then if I pass an empty array, I'm asserting that the session has errors and the keys are this. Okay. So with this in place, let me run that. And what does it do? It says session is missing encrypted key. And why is that? Failed asserting that false is true. Oh, sorry, it's not encrypted key, but it's expected key. My bad. Yeah. So this is fine, obviously. Now this is a small form, but I would still want to create a request. So I would create that. The class name should be client request. So I'll just go ahead and add that. And in here, the only validation that I would like to do is, so this is return true authorization, which is fine. I am expecting the name to be a required field. It needs to be unique. In the clients table, it has to be name. Okay. So that's pretty much the request. What I would need to do is change that to client request. And now ideally this should pass. And it does because the request is sent to this controller. The request class will process it. It will find that I don't have this name field and it will basically throw validation errors. Okay, so this is taken care of. What next? Now that our validations are being tested and there's only one field, why don't we, first of all, let me close that tab. Why don't we test for the fact that it actually saves the client into the DB? So maybe I'll do saves the client to DB. Okay. And I'll just put it in here. I need to make a correct post call now. So I'll just paste it here. Name my first client, something like that. And then I can do my assertions. Assert database has count. Assert database counts. My clients table should have a count of 1 and assert database has, okay, clients. And what is the where clause that I would like to put? That the name is this. So obviously this is going to fail, and the reason for that is inside the controller we haven't done anything. So how do we do that? I can get the data as request validated. Now if I do a DD, we will get the entire validated data. So if I run my test, you'll see I'm getting this array. But then let me look at the table. I have a table where I have a flag and I can see that I don't have a default value, which means I'll need to pass that. So what I will do is, right now we are expecting that whenever a client is created, it is obviously in active mode. Otherwise, why would you create that, right? So I will do data equals array merge is active, true, request validated. So I'm basically combining these two arrays. So I'll have one key which is name and there's one more key which is active. And with that, what I can do is client create data, and that's about it. I mean, this is enough for my test to pass. So let's just try and see. It does. because it can find this. Maybe I'll add that is active equals true. It should pass. And if I make it false, it will fail, which is obvious. So this test is correct in what it needs to test. Now the next thing is, if you remember my validation, let me pull out the request class. I have a unique constraint over here, right? I can't have two clients with the same name. Okay, so let's test for that. So the test is it doesn't create a duplicate client. Okay. Now in here I'll need an arrange. I'll have a client factory like so. Then we will have this. And we will need to make an API, a post call. So at that time, maybe what I will do is do the name, because now I'm trying to create a new client with the same name, correct? And then time to assert. So let me do that. Okay. And just copy this. And we should be good. Yeah. So if I try to see if this is correct or not, what I can do is I can change the name and it should fail, which basically means it did create that client. Otherwise, it won't give the errors. So yeah, this is done. Because we are checking for, this doesn't have a duplicate and stuff, why don't we also handle this custom logic that we have created? And maybe what I will do is I will not test this true over here. I'll have a dedicated test for that, which is makes new client active. So what will we do over here? Let me act as a user. I'll make a post call like this. Then why is it? Okay, I understand. I'm doing it wrong. This database has, first is my table clients, and I'll do is active true. So this is a separate test. So this is a separate test where we are specifically checking that the client is active. And this is passing. So we are fine. And then the last piece is, once the form is submitted, the client is created, we would like to redirect the user. Okay. So I've done this. Now what I will do is act as a logged in user, make this client, and then there's one more method which is assert redirect to route, and I'll expect that I'm taken to the index page of client, which means I'll see the listing, but it is not happening obviously because over here I did the create, and I'll do return redirect route client index with success client created, something like that. Okay, right. So let's see. And this is working. So with everything in here, now let's test how the form is looking. So we will have client slash, clients slash, not add, should be create. Yes. Why don't I have a client called FocalWorks? I will save. Yes, it has already taken. I have one entry in my database. So yeah, this is fine. FocalWorks new, hit save. And you can see I have two clients. First one I had created through the database directly, and this is something which I had done during the testing, and this is which I created just now. Now, one small change, what I would like to do is nav.blade. Where is my link? So this is over here. Set it to clients, and I think it will stick over here. So a margin right 4 pixels. Right, that's done. So I can go to projects, I can go to clients, from clients I can do client add. This entire flow is complete, and yeah, that's what I basically wanted to cover in this video. So that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, then do click on the thumbs up icon and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.